Welcome! We're here to learn about beginning Seesaw. We start Seesaw always from the Clever portal. It looks like a little bow tie or a little seesaw, whatever. But when you click it, it will start. Teachers, not students, but teachers can also go to app.seesaw.me and log in with their Google credential. Now, when you first get into Seesaw, I want you to come up and click on your name in the upper left-hand corner. Here is where you're going to find all of your classes. Now, if you're a classroom teacher, all of your classes will show up. Everything is rostered through Synergy, our student information system, and Clever. So your homeroom class will show up. And it may say homeroom dash dot 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 dot. You can change that name, and I will show you how to do that. If you are not a rostered classroom teacher, for instance, an ELL teacher, a special ed resource teacher, an intervention teacher, then you can create a new class and name it whatever you want. I will show you in a minute how to add students. The other thing I want you to look at is the little gear. Those are your settings. I'm going to come into account settings, and here is where you can change what your name looks like. You're always going to have your first and last name, but instead of your first and last name showing in the display box, you can change this to Mrs., like for me, Mrs. Ramirez. It's up to you. Down here in icon, you can put a picture of yourself, just a little snap. That's always a good idea because students, really younger students, will look for your picture more so than your name. Anything else is really nothing you need to worry about. School directory, account details, just ignore them. The only other thing you may want to look at is down under notifications. Email notifications. Every time a student submits work, it's going to email you. You may want to turn that off so you don't get ding-dong on everything. I have so many emails, I really don't need another. So, closing it saves everything. Over on the right side, this is our class area. This is where student work shows up. There are journal. So if I click on journals, any journals will pop in. Activities. And activities are the heart and soul of Seesaw. Everything that you assign to them will be over here in activities. This is where you're going to respond to them and everything else. We'll talk about that in a minute. Notifications. So if you have any notifications, they will pop up here instead of email. And progress. Progress can be an activities view or a skills view. Understand up in the right-hand corner, this is dates, and you can go backwards and forwards by date. I don't have anything that's going to show up here, so it's not important. Now, under progress, I can search for students, I can search by skills, or I can search by activities. On up in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to find the wrench. This is where you set all of your class settings. For instance, your class name. This one came in demo. Like I said, yours will come in as homeroom-something. You can change it to whatever you want. Once you type it in, hit the back arrow, and now, as you can see, it's been changed. Grade level. You can set your grade level here, so maybe I want this to be 4th grade. Underneath that, I have Manage Teachers. This is where you're going to go in and add a co-teacher. So if I come in here and I want to invite a teacher to be my co-teacher in this class, I just put the email up here and click Invite. I'm going to come down Class Theme. That's just your color and your icon. You can change that to be whatever you like. You can change the color if you choose. Actually, I kind of like the blue, maybe a lighter blue. Student sign-on mode. This is under students. We have a whole section here. This one, we have one-to-one devices, and that's what you should actually use. Because everything is coming in from Clever and every student has their own device. Manage students. This is important because this is where you're going to, if you're not a rostered classroom teacher, if you are an ELL or a teacher that doesn't get their students rostered automatically, here is where you're going to add them. Now, I'm going to explain how you do this. When you come up here, if you put in a name, there are a lot of students in Topeka Public Schools that have about the same name. If you add the wrong one, you're going to break it for everyone. So if you put an email in and you don't know exactly their email, you could really mess things up. So what we're going to do is we're going to add by student ID number. So if I were going to add a student, and I'm going to search, only one student should come up. And now I can click Add to Class. So to reiterate, when you want to add a student, you put in their student identification number, the 6-digit number, hit search and add them this way. Down here it says, can't find the student you're looking for, create a new student. Stop. Do not do this. If you can't find a student, don't create a new one. Once again, there are times I have found 5 or 6 of the same student, and then it is quite a chore for me to merge all these together, because what you're going to find is nobody can log in, none of them. So please do not create a new student. Email Gail Ramirez and I will take care of it for you. I will find them. So that's how you add a new student. Manage student groups. This is up to you. If you would like to make student groups so that you can assign content to different groups, that's fine. If I wanted to make a, I have to enter the name, Bluebirds, add my student group. I can edit the icon. I don't know if there's a bluebird in here or not, but I guess I could have named them. I can still change it. And then choose students. So if I want to put my sample student in there, I can. In Seesaw, when you see the green circle with a check mark, it means yes. So now I have my butterfly group, and I just keep on going. All of your students in your class will show up here. You just put a check mark, and that's how you add them. Okay? So we've got groups. Home learning codes. You don't need these because kids log in through Clever. Student likes and comments. This is where students can comment and like other posts in their class. And it's good to do, student likes, but you have to do a little training about it. And until you do that training, you should probably turn it off. Always, you should have new comments require approval, because nothing will show up on any student's feed until you have approved it. Yes, that's extra work for you. But if a student says something completely inappropriate, it's much better to have you have to approve it than be getting a phone call from that parent. Once again, it takes a little bit of work with students to train them to make positive comments and not destructive comments. Students can see each other's work. we can turn that off and on. And what this means is if Johnny posts something, then Sheila can go in and see it and comment or like it or anything else. So they can learn from each other. No student work will show up until you approve it, because right underneath this, new items require approval, that has to stay on. Because when a student puts something up, you don't approve it until everybody's turned their work in, so they can't copy. Item editing. Do you want to enable them to go back in and edit something? I actually like the fact that they can do that. Enable sample students. You absolutely want that on. That's what I have my sample student up here. That allows you to see what the student sees through your sample student. Family access. You usually leave this on because families can have their own Seesaw app. We've had a little problem in the past with students going in and giving their parents their password and getting the wrong one, and so that they can go in the incorrect way. Or another problem is when the parents set up a family app and they use the student's email. A student cannot be anything but a student. If they use the student's email, then nothing works. So it's important for the families to not sign up with anything but their own email. It's a good idea not to have families sign up yet until parent-teacher conferences, when you can walk them through that. So you can leave it on, because until you have students, it'll show up here, and that's how you invite families. Manage families the same way. Once they try to get on, you have to approve them. And then you have to decide, do you want the family to be able to like or comment on something? Once again, that's something at parent-teacher conferences. You work with parents and maybe even give them a little bit of an information sheet on what you would like them to do. I like where students have to write in a journal or something to their parents about what they've learned for the week, and then their parents respond back. Oh, that really sounds like fun. But you do have to let the parents know they are not there to correct the student's work. That is your job. And they should keep their comments conversational and positive. The way you make sure is new comments require approval. Once again, you have to approve family comments. Okay? The blog. You can turn on the blog if you like, and you're going to see a blog up here. If you want to do that, you certainly don't have to. But if you want to write a blog, you can. Manage folders. I like to have folders for all my work. You do not need separate classes for reading and another one for math. Okay, so this one's going to be ELA. ELA is going to be green. I need another one. Math. Math is going to be blue. Another one. Science. Science is going to be that pinky purple. Social studies. Social studies can be yellow. And just because I like computer science. Because I think computer science is important and we all need to be teaching it. So now I have folders for everything. So when I assign work or when I create activities to send out, everything goes in the proper folder. And that way, if you want to find your English post or your reading post, you go to the ELA folder. It just makes sense. You can also come down here to set up skills. And whatever your skills are, you can set up. These are just ones that I've set up. You don't have to. You can also, this is your rating. I like 4 stars. And it correlates with the activities and color scheme. So red, yellow, green, light green, dark green. Red means not doing so well on it. Yellow means, well, they're starting, they're developing. Green, they're starting to get it. And dark green, well, they're absolutely proficient. So that is just something you can use if you like or not. The very last thing down here is archive class. Don't click that unless you want your class archived. Your class will go away. So don't do that. At the end of the year, I will archive all classes in the district. You don't have to do it. So I will go in there and archive all of it and get ready for the rollover. So that will be taken care of for you. Okay? So that is class settings. Once again, up here, add students, add families. If I click add students, it kind of goes into this. This is nothing you need to do. This is how you set up students in the beginning. And I told you before that Synergy and Clever are going to take care of all of that for you. And if you need to add students, the best way to add them is down here under Manage Students. All right. Now on to the next section. We're going to take a peek real quick at activities. Now you will see nothing really shows up. So you can kind of keep it over here at Journal, and it's going to list every student's name. I do like, just real quick here, I go in and sometimes I see students when they come in, your class list, all your students should come in with a first and a last name. Please leave it that way. Because if you don't, when I go to move them, let's say I have to move them to another class, or your ELL teacher wants to pull them also into her class or his class, it's okay for students to be in multiple classes. But if you just change their name to a first name, that makes it much more difficult. So leave them the way they come in, and they will all be listed here. Now, I'm going to come up to the green circle with the plus sign that says Add. And you will see there are 2 things we have. One, I'm going to start at the bottom, Assign Activity. It's going to open up your resource library. So if I have something already saved, and you can see I have collections down here of all sorts of things. These are also folders that I've created. But if I just wanted to do this one, Baby, I Love My Name, okay? You can see this is a pre-KK, and this is actually a Seesaw lesson, which we will learn about in the next video. It's saved. On these, there are multiple sections I can assign. I do not have to assign them all at once. There's also Community Library. These are activities that other teachers throughout the world have come up with, and it will tell you their name. So here's one, Summarize Your Reading. And you can see that it starts off with a preview. Here's the template they'll add. Here are related lessons. Here are the teacher notes. It's always good to have teacher notes because the students don't see them. If you create something and upload it or share it with someone else, you're going to want an overview, tell them what grade level it is, and then kind of how to use this activity. What students see is this part. And you're going to, once again, put the title, the grade levels, and then student instructions. Not only are you going to put things in, but you can also record it.
Today you are going to summarize what you just read. Step 1. Click Add Response. Step 2. Use the video tool to record yourself summarizing what you read today. Step 3. Click the green check to add to your journal.
So students know exactly what they need to do. I will show you where you get these little, or how you can create these little icons. Those are good for younger kids who do not yet read. Probably for 4th or 5th grade, you don't need to do that. If I wanted to present this lesson to the whole class as part of a whole class activity, I could just click Present to Class. However, if this is something I like and want to assign it, I'm going to click Assign. My 3 classes come up. I'm going to put it in this class. At this point, I have some links over here. Edit Students. So if I wanted to just put it in one group, I could assign it to one student group if you made those groups up. Or you could just individually click arbitrarily a few students. There's also folders. So if I wanted to put this in the ELA folder, I could. And then there's skills. So if you have skills, then you can also assign it to skills. Okay? I'm going to click the green circle with a check mark, and I can assign it to one class. So I'm good to go. I can click the X to get out of that. All right? That's how easy it is. Now, if I wanted to preview this, I can click it, and you can see, here's what I've got. Okay? I'm going to close that. School and district library. There are a lot of things in here. There's some really, really good stuff in here. Many things were created during COVID, where they did video lessons, and you're going to find they're just little videos and they have absolutely no lesson component to it. I would just stay away from those. At some point we need to go in and clean them out, but we haven't done that yet. So you can look at something and say, all right, here's multiplication using a numbers chart. I want to look at this, and I can see that this was done by Mrs. Bradley, who's an awesome teacher over at McCarter. And she does a nice job with all the instructions, right? And you could play them. Here is this, the preview, and it gives you the picture. You can also, one of the things I love to do when I create a lesson is, from my preview, I make a video. And I put a video up here so they can actually watch the video, and then they have a better idea what to do. And then here, there's an 8-page, so here's the template. And so you can see that Mrs. Bradley said there are markers, and look here.
Use the Move tool to move the markers to cover all multiples of 3. Then fill in the multiplication grid at the bottom.
So we've got something times 3. 3 times 1 is 3. So I can move this up and put it on there. Okay? Next page. Multiples of 4. Multiples of 5. So you can see this is a nice lesson. So if I wanted that, I can click Assign. I'm going to take this to Mrs. Ramirez's class. Edit Students, I want all students, so that's no big deal. Folder, I want it in the Math folder. Skills, not going to do. So now we've got that assigned to one class. I'm good. So we've made 2 assignments. When you see something in someone else's library, a lot of Spanish things that our friends who are at the Spanish immersion and dual language schools have created, so there's a lot of great things there. But let's say I wanted this Mystery Science Chain Reaction. By clicking it, you can see I can click the heart to favorite it, and I can add it, so I can click Science. And then you see these 3 little dots down here. Now, look what it says. Add to a collection, copy and edit activity, print activity, share activity, so you can share it with another teacher. But look at this. I can add it to my collection, which is just putting it in one of those folders. But this second one is huge. Copy and edit activity. Now, this is my activity. Even though that teacher, Ms. Teeter, whoever, did it, let's say I want to use it for a different grade level. I want to do a little bit different instructions. I want to add voice instructions. I can add multimedia instructions in the way of, in here, I can add a photo, I can add a video. So I can change this any way I want and click Save. Now in my library, look what I have. Here's the one from Miss Dieter. So I can leave that, or I can actually get rid of it now because I don't need it. And the way you get rid of it is to remove from my library, because it's a different, not that hers wasn't a wonderful lesson, but I want to change to a different grade level. So now it's gone. And I can come in here and I can completely edit this. So what have we learned in our resource library? We've learned that there are items in the community library and the school and district library. We learned how to add other Seesaw activities to my own library and save them so that I can edit it and either enhance or change the grade level or make it more my own. So I'm going to click X to get out. And now we're going to click on this plus sign again. But before we do, look what's out here. This didn't used to have all this in here. Here, because I assigned it to the class, here are multiplication using a numbers chart. Here's the summarize my reading. Okay, and you can see both were just assigned May 9th. Here's one I assigned March 1st. So these two I just did. Now, remember how I told you it was so important to have that sample student? If I want to click Add Response, I can go in as a sample student and I can do this myself. So now I can actually complete it. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4. 3 times 5. And so on. I can also get my pencil down here. I can add it in here. So down here are my tools. This is my pointer so that I can change things. Here is my pencil. Here is a pen, which is a little bit thicker. Of course, over here is the color of whatever ink you have. So we have that. So you see how easy it is. By having a sample student, I get to work the page and I get to do all the work. So I'm going to click plus sign to settle it in. And now you see, here's my sample student because he's clicked on down here. You can see what work I've done. Okay. Now, back up to the green circle. This time, we are going to post student work. This is the creation station. Most of the time, you're going to go into drawing. If I clicked photo, it says, is it okay? Anytime you do it, whether you're on a Chromebook or a PC or an iPad, you have to allow it access to your camera. Okay? So you can see here's my camera. It's not taking a picture of me because it's not set up the right way, but it could be. I just have to change it. So here I am. I can actually take a picture just by clicking on it. And there's my picture. Click in here. Who am I? Now I have it. So what I just did was I clicked private to the teacher only. Why is that? Because I don't want other kids to see it. If I'm going into sample student, I only want the teacher to see this. I don't want the other students. Back into post student work. Upload. If I had a file or a video or a photo that I had done on the student Chromebook, I could upload it into this. A note just means a note. A link could be anything. So if I wanted to go to YouTube and I want
ถ้าพูดถึงทีมฟุตบอลของเราคงต้องย้อนกลับไปที่วันแรกที่นี่
addition of two numbers. I'll try this one. I'm gonna copy that URL and here my link. Bing. Now on this page I have a video. Now think about this, because right now I'm posting student work, but I'm also, at this point, I could be creating a lesson. So, or an activity. Maybe that's all I wanted to do is watch the video on the first one. So now I'm going to go to next page. So the whole point of the creation station for a teacher is to create an entire lesson. If you are brand new to Seesaw, don't worry about creating lessons yet. It's more important for you to go into the activities and find lessons other people have done and learn to modify them. But the day will come, and sooner than you think, where you can actually create your own lesson. Okay? I actually don't want that. Yes. So I'm going to go back because I don't want to save any of that. And trash it. Because back in here, like I said, video, that's if you record a video, and students can do that, and so can teachers on your laptop. But the whole point of this is your creation station. And that's where most people start, is in the creation station. So let's talk about some of the tools in this station. We're going to start with the T, and of course you know what that is. That's a text box. Now when students, I always generally give them the option, do you want to create a text box and type in it? Or do you just want to get the pen or the pencil and write? Alan. So they can write or they can type. Over here is the microphone. Once again, you have to allow it. So when you're ready. Hi, my name is Alan, and I just made a text box. I'm clicking that to turn it off. Done. And now look what I have. Hi, my name is Alan, and I just made a text box. Great. I can also hit the camera and I can take a video over here, a photo, or I can upload something. This is very powerful. Not the photo, but the video. Because one of the most important things we need to know is how do they understand what they're doing. So they can bring in a picture, they can do anything. But one nice thing for each student to do is make a video where it records them talking about their reflection on what they just learned. What was hard about it, what was easy about it, what they liked, what they didn't like. Are they curious about something? What do they think will happen next? Predictive text. So the video is a wonderful way to do that. The 3 dots always means more. So I can bring in shapes. I can bring in a background. And there are all these backgrounds. I don't use the colors, some of the colors too much. But one of the nice things you can do is you can actually, all the little things down here, you can use them. Now, you see I have this heart. There are 3 dots on it, so I can set my style. I can change the order if I've layered things. Do I want this on the top, behind, whatever? Do I want to lock it? Yes, I do, because otherwise students can inadvertently click on stuff and move it. Do I want to make a link to that? So I can put a URL in here. Other things I can do, I can add a voice to it. I can duplicate it, okay? And accessibility. So I can add alt text. So if I have someone, a student that is hearing impaired, I absolutely want to make sure that I describe the shape so that his or her screen reader can read it. Up at the top, this is just how you can kind of make it go different directions. Last thing in here is once again a link and a voice. Okay, so we've gone through those. We know that this is the pointer tool down here, and the pencil, the pen, the highlighter, the spray can, which does outlining text, is kind of the magic button, and the eraser. So if I wanted to erase stuff, I can. Now notice when I'm erasing, some things it erases. It erases annotations. It erases anything made with these tools down here, but it does not erase text boxes or anything else. Okay? Up here, I can zoom in and out. I can click on here and make a pencil. I have undo, I have redo. This is edit. Or I can trash it and say delete it. I don't even like it. I'm just going to start over. So that's the creation station. And it's easy to use. Okay, our next video will be about Seesaw lessons. So I'll see you back shortly. Remember, if you have any questions about things in Seesaw, just shoot me an email. My name is Gail Ramirez.